Have you ever met someone who is just brilliant? A doctor, an engineer, a total genius in their field. But when it comes to money, they're just not? It's a really weird thing when you think about it. Well, today we're going to dive into exactly that, the hidden intellectual barriers that can stop even the smartest people from actually building wealth.
Just let this one sink in for a second. Smart people are failing financially. I mean, on the surface, that just doesn't make any sense, right? We're taught our whole lives that being smart is the key, the one tool that can crack any code. So how on earth can our greatest strength suddenly become our biggest financial Achilles heel? And that's the real question we're tackling. How does that incredible asset you have, your brain, somehow turn into a liability when money gets involved? So let's get into it. Let's do a little diagnostic work and uncover the cognitive traps that might be holding you, or maybe someone you know, back. So first up is something we can call the smart person's paradox. And let's be super clear about this. This has nothing to do with a lack of intelligence. It's actually the complete opposite. It's about how the very mental habits that make you amazing at your job can cause you to, well, totally miss the mark with your personal finances. Okay, so that leads us right into our first big trap, the complexity bias. This is our brain's natural pull towards fancy, complicated solutions because we assume they must be better. We look at a big, messy problem like investing, and our first thought is the answer must be equally messy and complicated. We think we need some kind of genius-level strategy instead of just the simple, boring stuff. And here's where all goes wrong. On one side, you've got the intellectual approach, this belief that a complex problem needs a beautiful, complex answer. But then you look at the financial reality, and honestly, it's often brutally simple. The real secret isn't some secret hedge fund strategy. The whole game is just mastering a few simple habits, like saving consistently, and then just doing it over and over and over again for years. That search for an elegant solution just blinds us to the raw power of keeping it simple. And that brings us to the second trap, which, oh man, this one is maybe even more common. It's analysis paralysis. It's that danger of knowing too much, or at least feeling like you need to know everything before you can make a move. Does that sound a little familiar? So yeah, here's the official definition of analysis paralysis, but when we're talking about money, this isn't some abstract concept. It's absolutely catastrophic. This is you spending 6 months researching the quote-unquote perfect investment while the opportunity just sails right by. The cost of doing nothing, because you're overthinking it, is this silent killer of your future wealth. And you can probably picture this frustrating loop, can't you? You start looking into option A, but then, oh no, you find a potential risk. So you pivot to option B to try and avoid that risk, only to find out it has its own set of scary problems. Before you know it, you're just stuck in this cycle, always looking for more data, more certainty, and you never actually get in the game. Your desire to get rid of every single risk becomes the biggest risk of all. So, if those are the traps, how do you get out? Well, the answer isn't to get even smarter or to find more information. Nope. It actually takes a pretty fundamental shift in your mindset, moving away from just raw intellect and moving towards what you could call financial wisdom. And this right here is probably the most important thing to get. Building wealth is not an IQ test. It's not a chess match. The market really doesn't care about your degree or how many books you've read. Trying to outthink it, to solve it like it's a math problem, is what leads you right into those traps we just talked about. Instead, it's about being wise. And what does that mean here? Well, wisdom isn't about knowing more stuff. It's all about behavior. It's the wisdom to realize that good enough, that actually gets done, is infinitely better than perfect that never happens. It's about embracing simplicity. It's about managing your own emotions. And it's about prioritizing doing things consistently over finding some flawless, theoretical plan. So I'll leave you with this question to chew on. What is the one intellectual habit, a habit that probably makes you really good at your job, that you might need to unlearn to finally get ahead with your money? Is it that need for a complicated answer, or is it getting frozen by endless analysis? Sometimes the smartest move you can make is just knowing when to stop thinking and just start doing.